Hello everybody and welcome to another video. Welcome back to Final Fantasy X. It's actually been 2 days since I last recorded. I've been stalling, alright, and I was well aware of this when I was filming the original episodes, and I shouldn't mention it. I really shouldn't, because you're probably going to notice it now, but I have to, okay? There's been a noise in the background on these videos. I don't know whether you guys have been able to pick up on it. It's like an annoying static noise. Basically, I've got like a whole serious epic novel worth of a story about how I've struggled with this LP to get a cable for my capture card, and I'm still struggling. The struggle is still real. Apparently the cable I've currently got has got this really annoying static noise on it. I've been doing a lot in the editing to try and remove it, but it's kind of annoying. So I've waited 2 days in the hope that another cable would come in the mail, but it still hasn't. So I'm like, whatever, I need to play the game, otherwise I'm going to sort of forget where I was. So yeah, welcome back. We're in Kilika. Put up with the noise, just maybe for 1 or 2 episodes. Hopefully you can't hear it. If you don't have like good speakers or headphones on, you probably can't hear it. So, yeah, what happened at the end of the last episode? We decided we were going to come to Kilika. Mainly, we want to go to Luca so we can help Waka win a tournament and hopefully find someone we know. But in the meantime, she came here to pray at a temple here, just like she did in Besaid. And also, Waka wants to come here just to pray for victory for his Blitzball tournament too. So we came along. However, Sin was in the area. I guess I never mentioned this in the previous episode, but we sort of are responsible for this. We're kind of the reason Sin was nearby, right? And, yes, considering he was nearby, he sort of blew the crap out of Kilika. You might have noticed in that cutscene, Sin destroyed the place but didn't seem to be actively doing anything, and later on in the game they're going to start exploring very vaguely some ideas of like Sin just destroys stuff passively, and I'll talk about that more later, but I found that really interesting replaying it recently and was watching that cutscene and being like, oh yeah, that is something interesting to note. Anyway, let's stop wandering around. We try and get back on the boat. The guy's repairing it. He says we won't be able to return to Besaid until it's fixed. So we can't run away, we can't go do our own thing. Let's head along. You'll notice that everyone on our team has been fully healed since we randomly got that save section. There were a couple of things I missed in the previous episodes. Number one, well, okay, no, I can mention that later. So let's just go see what's going on. Yuna and so forth ran on ahead to do something called ascending, which we really don't know what that is. What's this person say? She says, hey, you're alive! Wait! What do you want? We're not open! So she's actually a shop. She sells stuff to us. She's not open right now, obviously, because everything's been destroyed. Over here, you'll find Waka and the Aurochs helping out. And Letty says, Titus, watch your step. It's not safe this way. I love this. All the characters that aren't voice acted actually get to say your name, and all the others can't. So yeah, there's no way that we can walk over there. Right at the end of the game, you can walk down there once everything's repaired, but that'll be not for a long time. This guy here says, the pub's closed. I don't think I can get through this without a drink. And he sighs exasperatedly. Sure. Let's head on this way. And we get a really interesting cutscene. One of the biggest themes of this game, by the way, guys, is death. Honestly, like, this universe, Spira, the way that death works is fascinating. And really, it's one of the core things about the entire story. And this is where we first vaguely get to experience some of that. A lot of people died here.
What's ascending? Are we going somewhere?
You truly are clueless. Are you sure it's just your memory that's the problem? The dead need guidance. Filled with grief over their own death, they refuse to face their fate. They yearn to live on and resent those still alive. You see, they envy the living. And in time, that envy turns to anger, even hate. Should these souls remain in Spira, they become fiends that prey on the living. Sad, isn't it? The sending takes them to the far plane, where they may rest in peace.
Summoners do this?
The sequel will reveal that more than just summoners can do it, but in this time and place, it's pretty much the summoner's duty. Well, there you go. Those weird orbs of light in the area were called fireflies, by the way.
It must be tough, being a summoner.
Yuna chose her own path. She knew from the beginning what it meant. All we can do is protect her along the way, until the end.
Until the end? What's the end?
Until she defeats sin.
Idiot.
Oh.
I hope I did okay.
You did very well. They've reached the far plane by now, but no tears next time. Hmm?
I wished there would never be a next time. No more people being killed by sin. No more sendings for Yuna. Everyone stood there watching her. It was strange, and somehow horrifying. I never wanted to see it again.
I guess conceptually it is a lot more horrifying than the cutscene really makes out. Especially considering like these are these people's loved ones, their friends, their family. And Yuna's sending them away. Like, it's kind of, yeah, it's pretty brutal. Also, I've realized one thing I never mentioned yet is Lulu's tartars. Let's broach this subject here. Yeah, she has unnecessarily large tits. It's ridiculous. And I noticed in that cutscene they actually, for the HD remaster, maybe it was there originally too, they decide to give her like tan lines, even though she's always showing that much cleavage the entire way through the game. I'm trying to find like a characters menu here, but apparently we don't really have one. So yeah, there is that. I'm sure some people will have already noticed it. And that was the thing I wanted to do at the start of this video. At the end of the last battle, we did get some new gear for her. So we got a Moogle, was her original weapon, and now we have a Water Moomba. Now I'm going to leave the Moogle equipped for a little while because Lulu's weapons are very interesting. It's one of the things I'm hoping to do with this LP to show you guys. However, the Bangle we can change to the yellow Bangle. This gives us a little bit of defense against lightning damage, which absolutely will be useful in the next area. Now, Lulu's weapons are all little toys. She, like Yuna, if you try and do a regular physical attack with her, it does barely any damage, and really she's just there to be casting spells. But if you do choose to do this with Lulu, the little toy in her hand will run out and attack whatever it is and do terrible damage. But all of the toys that she holds as her weapons, because there are various different weapons you can equip, not just statistically, but physically they all change. The different weapons that Lulu gets are all references to stuff in other Final Fantasy games. Moogles in particular are not a big thing in this universe, in Spira. They are a thing, just not a very big thing. And really they're little plush toys, so that's what Lulu's carrying for her default weapon, and that changes. Moomba is a different thing, and we'll talk about them as the series goes along. The other thing I guess I'll mention on this topic is, remember when we killed that Garuda in Besaid that dropped this thing for Waka, the Dark Ward Arm Guard? Now, if we were doing a certain challenge in the game, which is very popular and very common thing to do, where you never use the sphere grid, you never use the level up system, the game is absolutely possible to complete under those very harsh circumstances. But what you got to do in a playthrough like that is hope that the Garuda doesn't drop Dark Ward armor, but instead a Dark Strike weapon. Or just Dark Attack weapon. It wouldn't be Dark Strike. But basically, he's got a chance of either giving you armor or weapon. If you get the weapon, it would mean that your regular physical attacks have a chance to inflict darkness, just like Waka's skill, Dark Strike. So, yeah, we kind of got the bad roll there, but it's whatever, because obviously I will be using this figure. Anyway, let's speak to some guys. Sorry about the rambling. Let's see what we got here. This lady says, did you rest well? The others left some time ago. This is a bit of a trope for Final Fantasy, I think. The idea that you're always the last one to wake up. Always, you're having a nap and everyone else is all ready to go. And I always love those moments in games where you've been asleep too. And it's, you know, it plays the sound of you snoring and you wake up and it feels like a fresh new day. Anyway, this person says, this is my home and no matter how bad it gets, I ain't moving. They'll sort of suggest that Kilika is one of those places that gets hit by sin a lot. There's lots of people saying whether they're moving or not as we go through. This kid says, I'm going to be a blitzball when I grow up. That is not a translation error, neither of that is that a typo. This is like one of those really funny things that gets a bit of a cult following around the game. I'm going to be a Blitzball when I grow up. I mean, in theory, it should say, I want to be a Blitzball player when I grow up. But no, in the Japanese HD remake that they released, they actually fixed this text, this obvious typo. They fixed it for Japanese, but for our version, the typo remains. I mean, how bad is that? It's pretty funny. I kind of liked it. It's still there. It's a stupid, quirky thing. And these games really don't have many translation errors like that, but that is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest one, in Final Fantasy X. Anyway, we've got another tutorial thing here that I'd like to just quickly show you guys, because there's something interesting you can do at these. Oh, no, you can't do them just yet. Later on, we'll be able to do mock battles with monsters in those, but not just yet. So let's head on out. Now, what the game's going to want us to do... Oh, here's Datto.
Hey, you awake? Captain Walker's waiting for you.
I really don't think Datto says very much in the entire game, so enjoy that. This guy here says everything's in shambles, I don't know where to start. His name is actually Tats, and he's a really good Blitzball player you can get later on. I missed one of the best Blitzball players in Besaid. I never managed to talk about her. She's called Velucha. She's that lady in the dressing shop with all the fabrics. Later on, once you unlock Blitzball, you can go back and recruit her, and she's an amazing shooter. And in the sequel, she's like a regular member of the Aurochs. It's really cool. Anyway, this person says, our loved ones made it to the far plane with Lady Yuna's help. We are truly grateful for Yevon's blessing. Sure. So yeah, the game wants us to go off on the left. We're going to go off on the right here. We're just going to backtrack a tiny little bit to check some stuff out. Maybe I'm doing this a bit prematurely. Here you can chat with Waka.
Ah, there you are. Be St. Aurochs, huddle. On to the temple, where we pray for victory. Go! High Summoner O'Holland used to live in the Kilika Temple here. Yep, Lord O'Holland was once a great blitzer, you know.
Waka. Praying for victory's all good. But is this right?
Something wrong with enjoying Blitzball?
Is this really the time?
This is the only time. The players fight with all their strength. The fans cheer for their favorite team. They forget pain, suffering. Only the game matters. That's why Blitz has been around for so long. At least that's what I think.
Whatever you say.
Let's play and win, right?
Right.
Temple's beyond the jungle there. Let's go.
No, it's true. They really do set up that in this world, the only thing these people have is this sport. Like, seriously. So yeah, they've stopped deciding to try and fix this thing. We can now actually enter the pub. And I believe there's a chest in here, but maybe we can't open it. Oh, no. Okay, so here is the next Albed Primer. This is volume 4, so we are now 4 out of 26. The secrets of the Albed language are revealed. T is equal to D. We've achieved another new rank here. Titus has achieved the rank of Albed Pakahan. On my test file, when I got to this point, I realized that no matter how many letters of the Albed alphabet we translate, these titles will never actually be translated for us. So if you want to know what these titles mean, you have to do it yourself. The game will not do it just because you've collected a bunch of primers. So for you guys' benefit, I actually jotted them down during my test file. So here we go. These are the names of all of the titles. The first one we got when we picked up the first one on the boat was Novice, Albed Novice. And this one, I believe, is now Beginner. No, this is the one after Beginner. So Beginner was the next one, and now we are an Albed Dabbler. That's what it says, Albed Dabbler. So there you go. It's pretty interesting. I may mention some other later on, but you become like a learner, a speaker, a orator, and eventually a master. Anyways, there's some guys in here. She says, I opened the store, but because we can't serve anything, we don't have anything. Sure. I don't care if there is... I don't care if there isn't any food, I just want to stay here. I'm scared to even look out at the sea. I can feel it out there, can't you? What a terrifying thought. I talked about in one of my Tomb Raider LPs, the idea of old civilizations that don't know much about the ocean, these terrible monsters in the deep. This is a world where one of those things is killing people. So yeah. Sure, I can totally relate with that. The girl behind the counter is actually a member of the Kilika Beasts, the Kilika Blitzball team. By pressing square on her, we can actually get Blitzball information about her, but we can't play the game yet, so it's pretty much irrelevant. But yeah, so you can find those different people around the town, and later on in the game, you can actually start recruiting them into your cause. Really jumping the gun with that, but hey, whatever. Over here, this woman was originally in a shop. Is she now selling? She says, hey you, hands off the merchandise. Oh, you're a customer, are you? Sure. So we can actually buy some stuff here if we like. This hunter's sword, which we got as a lucky drop before, we can actually buy. There's a rod of wisdom for Yuna, which has sensor, but we already got the great one from the Cloister of Trials. Basically, there is a weapon here with sensor on it for anyone. I'm actually going to buy this one for Lulu called the Cactar Scope, just because it's a different type of doll. I can eventually show you guys. And then all the armor here has HP plus 5%. I would be quite liberal. Usually in Final Fantasy games you get loads of gear and it doesn't really, you don't have to be very conservative with your money. However, in this game, gil can be hard to come by until the very, very end. And because we're currently on a quest to pay off Awaka, we kind of have to be kind of careful at the moment, so we will watch that. This is Titus's default longsword. I won't actually sell it just because of what I described in the previous video, but the default staff and ring of Yuna, Lulu's original bangle. Titus has got a Dark Ward shield. I don't know when we picked that up, so we can equip that. And yeah, so we really didn't have very much stuff to sell. You will often find, honestly, in this game, if you're doing a regular playthrough, you're selling stuff more than you're buying stuff. That's just what I come across anyway. There was a chest down there near that old lady. I think you can open it eventually, maybe, but not for a while. Hold on, I can actually look at my guide here. Yeah, I don't think you can ever actually open up that chest, so don't worry about it. Here, there's a little boy. You can do something extra by walking towards him.
Whoa!
You can actually save his life. It's one of those really random weird things, and they've got quite a complex, cool animation for the place getting destroyed too. But that's all it is, literally. You can avoid that completely, you can miss it. But by saving the little boy's life, and it's kind of weird because he wasn't actually in danger until you would look over at him. But once you save his life, if you go back to the pub, I believe it's the pub. It's either the pub or the inn. You can actually speak to his parents and they'll give you something for saving him. So it's either this room or the other one. Yeah, here we go. So back in the pub, you can speak to her. She says, you're the one who saved my sister, right? That treasure box contains a token of my appreciation. Thank you. So there you go. We can open this up and net ourselves an ether. Pretty cool. And the little kid over there says, oh, thank you for saving me. Something generic and along those lines, so don't worry too much about it. Alright, so let's head deeper into Kilika. Kilika in this game really isn't very big. In the sequel, it gets much bigger. But I suppose because it's just been destroyed by sin, there's not really much that we can travel around and experience here. This guy... Oh, there's a lady over here we never spoke to. She says, I wanted to believe it was just a bad dream, that this was all a dream, and when I opened my eyes, everything would be back to normal. But when morning came, nothing had changed. Kind of sad. I've been listening to this chill step song where the guy's basically singing about just close your eyes. This guy says, yeah, I'm repairing this now, but it will all be destroyed again when sin comes. He destroys it, I fix it. I fix it, and he destroys it. It's a never-ending cycle, I tell you. The world we live in is called Spira. And another theme of this game, again, which will not become apparent for a long while, is the idea of it's a very circular nature in this world, that there is like a spiral of death, basically. All right, so some more people over here. This guy says, what are you looking at? I ain't on display here. Go away, man. Ooh, okay. He seems pretty angry. And this lady says, please excuse him. He's been affected by the toxin. So if he says anything offensive, don't take it too seriously. Sure. Okay, so this is the first guy we've ever met that was impacted by the toxin. The background looks pretty cool in here as well, by the way. But supposedly we've been hit by toxin, but it didn't turn us into an asshole, did it? So what does that mean? This guy's just a douche? Or is what we're suffering from slightly different? Maybe it is just an excuse. I think it's something pretty subtle that they're throwing out at you there. Pretty cool. But yeah, okay, so that's pretty much Kilika done. Let's head on to the mainland. Oh, do you know what I just did? I think I just forgot a chest in that room we were just in. So we'll go back and grab that in a second, guys. Don't worry. Oh, yeah, good, we're in control. Yeah, there we go. How did I miss that? Ridiculous. Okay, so there you go. There's 3 potions in here. We did not miss them. Kind of interesting on this next screen as well that Wakka's following you. He's programmed to follow you, but it's only for 2 steps because you walk 2 steps forward and then the party gets into a cutscene and he's not following you anymore. It really sucks because, as I say, it would be so cool if in most of the game you had someone in your party following you around. So you see here, Wakka, why don't you just follow me all the time, bro? We can't actually talk with him in case you've been wondering.
What's up?
Yuna's saying she wants you with us.
Huh?
I want to ask you to be my guardian.
You know what? There's no time for jokes, yeah? He may be a blitzball whiz kid, but up against fiends, he's a newbie.
not a guardian then. I just want him nearby.
What? What do you mean?
It's just that, well,
We're all going to the temple anyway. Can't this wait till later?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have...
There's nothing to be sorry about. I'm just not really sure what's going on.
My apologies.
We're just an idiot, basically. Oh, Kumari. You gonna say something to us? Man, I didn't mention to you guys in that cutscene as well. I love that, like, after she does the sending, instantly Kumari's, like, right next to her. He's always up in her grill, like, straight away. He's, like, the best guardian. He genuinely is. Everyone else slacks off. Whacker plays Blitzball, repairs the place. Kumari never leaves her side. Like, he's serious about protecting her. And why? Ooh, we'll just have to find out. Alright, so, we get a mock battle here. I think this is a mock battle. And who's it about? Kumari. So, this is a new type of fiend we haven't seen yet.
Kumari, why don't you use Lancet on it?
What's a lancet?
Normally, it's a skill that weakens enemies and heals the user. But when a Ronso uses it, that Ronso can sometimes learn Fiend's abilities.
Hey, sounds cool.
So I believe I mentioned this while we were fighting Sin on the boat. But yeah, because Kumari is a Ronso, using Lancet will actually allow him to unlock new overdrives. You'll notice right now he doesn't have an overdrive at all, like his meter isn't full. But by using Lancet, we drain HP, drain MP, and at the top it says Kumari has learned Seed Cannon. And now his overdrive is full as well. So not only is this a cool way of learning new abilities that give you different capabilities, but it also will instantly charge Kumari's overdrive at any point. Charging overdrives is a bit of a mechanic in the game. So now we've got Jump, which I don't believe I've actually commanded Kumari to use yet. But we've also got Seed Cannon, so let's throw a Seed Cannon at him. And it's pretty impressive damage, you know, I actually managed to kill it. I had Lulu cast Fire there as well because those things are weak to fire, and that was enough to finish the job. Obviously only 2 people got MP there, but yeah. So anyway, overdrives are kind of a bit of a mechanic in the game. Here you'll see that not only can I view Kumari's overdrives, for example, where is he? Here you go. So now he's got 2 overdrives out of a big list, right? But not only can I view, but there's also something called set mode, right? Overdrive modes are different ways that you charge your overdrive. So by default, everyone is stoic, right? This means that it charges when the character takes damage, as you can see up there across the top. But as we go through the game, as you make those characters do different things in battle, they can unlock new modes, and those other modes can get you your overdrive much, much quicker. It means that early in the game, it's very rare seeing overdrives, and later on in the game, you can get them super quick. You can even get weapons that boost how fast overdrives charge. So, you guys might remember right at the start of the LP, I said there was a fight in Zanarkand where you could just permanently keep like skipping turns. That was for the purposes if you wanted to of learning new overdrive modes. Anyway, so look, there's another one of these Albed things here. We're getting a bit better at learning and knowing Albed, but there's only one letter there we even translated, and God knows what that means. So, and I'll tell you guys one thing: even if you do know all of Albed and you look at that thing, it's not going to help you very much. All right, so what have we got here? This is a new type of enemy, sort of. This is a yellow element. This is Lulu's territory. She's the one that should be dealing with these kinds of things with magic. So Tidus can't really do anything. So what do I want him to do? I could make him attack the element, or the yellow element, and he'd do barely any damage. Or I could try and hit the Hornet over here, the Killer Bee. If I go for the Killer Bee, there's a good chance it will evade Tidus's attack. If I go for the yellow elemental, I'm guaranteed the attack, but it's not going to do much. So I'll try and hit this thing. If I got lucky, I probably could have one-shot.
Best stop that. Waka's in charge of flyers, remember?
I'm well aware, Lulu. It was a controlled decision. Now, why didn't I just swap Tidus out straight away? Because there's he needs to do at least something for AP. So now Kumari, what can Kumari do? Well, Kumari could Kumari's stats basically whatever you want them to be, because we haven't used the sphere grid yet. He's really default, so I doubt he can hit the Killer Bee, and I doubt he'll do much damage to the elemental, but we'll try. So what I might have wanted to do there is perhaps used Lancet to drain MP from the yellow element, but I don't think that would have really done much. So anyway, this thing is lightning, so we want to cast water on it, right? For 1.5 times damage. And I am thirsty, Lulu. Thank you very much. So there you go. Now it's dead. Tidus has been poisoned. That's what that green thing above his head is. And for that, there are these antidotes, which are items we've slowly been picking up as we've been playing. Don't have to worry about it, though. We could swap Waka in and instantly kill it, but we do want Yuna to get some XP. So I'm just going to bring her in and press triangle. So there you go. And now we'll go to Waka. Lulu just dodged that attack, by the way. She's a really evasive...
I can take care of those alone, huh? Booyah.
She's a really evasive character. So she'll often do that. She doesn't tend to get much health, but she can dodge a lot of stuff. Everyone's got, like, quirks offensively and defensively. Alright, so we're just going to run along here, collect a couple of chests, and then we're going to talk about the level up system. And we're going to use it to kill an optional boss in this area. So there's all these guys here. Oh, we got ambushed. Okay, so there you go. See, Lulu dodges. You can't dodge magic. There's magic defense, but no magic evasion in this game, which is fine. You don't want too much bloat on stuff. All right, here's something else really interesting that just happened. Waka was just inflicted with a status effect, Petrify. You'll be seeing Petrify a lot in this LP. Like, it's really, really strong. If you do the right stuff, you can get it on your weapons. So it's only a chance to happen, but if it happens when one of these lizard guys attacks you, it can really mess you up. Waka basically is dead for what it's worth now. He's just been completely stopped. Yuna does have a spell, though, that she starts the game with called Izuna, and this cures anyone of any status ailment.
Light shines strong, our woe be gone.
So this is basically the same as throwing a remedy on someone, except it doesn't use the remedy. So it's very, very strong. Waka can try and attack this thing back, but he probably doesn't have the strength to kill it. No, he doesn't. Lulu, of course, here can cast water on that and deal with it. And now we're just going to swap some people out and get a little bit... Actually, we won't even bother. We won't bother getting experience.
Newbie here.
Sorry.
That's some dialogue, by the way, that's easy to miss.
You're not too bad.
You ain't seen nothing yet.
It's funny, the game changes its tone a lot. In early battles, there's loads of conversation and banter between characters, but as stuff happens in the story, they slowly just get more depressed, and it just gets really quiet in the battles after a while. And it really doesn't seem to be a matter of, oh, hey, we ran out of voice acting budget. It's just as the tone of the story shifts, they slow it down. It's actually really done quite well. Anyway, so there's all these Crusaders in the forest. We Crusaders are training for the upcoming operation. This weird plan Luz and Gato are talking about. Call on us if you see any sin spawn, they say. So remember, sin... Actually, oh no, we don't know some stuff yet. Never mind. So when you speak to these guys... Oh god, I think I already messed it up. Hold on. I believe when you find the Crusaders like that, you can speak to them multiple times in a row, and it will... they'll actually eventually give you stuff for your efforts. So... We'll have Tidus. See, Tidus, in theory, should have killed that in one hit. But because we haven't leveled up or anything yet, he can't. So it's still got 8 health, which is kind of sucky. So we'll kill this thing. Don't worry, any moment now we will have a look at this figure. I just want some sort of regular gameplay before we end up diving into menus for a good while. Because God knows I can't be concise. So there we go, that guy's dead now.
All right.
Yeah, top dog Tidus, good job. Alright, let's go find this Crusader just here. There you go. He says, are you heading for Kilika Temple? Then just follow this trail. There are poisonous feeds on the forest. Be on your guard. Gives you a remedy. So there you go. There's the item. And now, they also say, I'd steer clear of the Ochu, Lord of the Wood. It's a powerful fiend even we Crusaders avoid. Now, there's a little cutscene I can trigger in a second. That Ochu is an optional boss in the area that you absolutely do not have to fight. Even if you do try and fight it, you can flee from it any time. There are only 2 bosses in the entire game.
Easy, huh?
I'm fine.
Wow, sure, Tidus, no worries. There are only 2 bosses in the entire game that you can actually choose to flee from, and this is one of them. Look, you don't need to keep teaching me this stuff, yeah? I did it so he'd get experience, alright? It was either that or pressing triangle, and I may as well do a little bit of damage, just in case Lulu can't finish it off. I should demonstrate her regular attack as well in a second, just so you guys can see. There we go. See all these spheres we're getting from these victories? They're all used on the sphere grid. Maybe I left it a little bit too late. I'd always told myself I was going to leave it a little while before we used it, but hey. Alright, so I'm just going to quickly save, and then we're going to head to that horrible looking fiend. You might have seen it just for an instant off in the background. So there we go. This time Waka didn't get petrified. That's the bee dead. Here we go. So, this thing has got 13 health. Can Lulu, with her Moogle, kill it? There's a good chance it will dodge, but let's see. Go, 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 go. Oh, it evaded. What is that, man? I'm sure she could have done it. Alright, so anyway, that's Lulu's default weapon. We'll equip her with a new one so you guys can see. But that's a Moogle. In the sequel, there is like a sort of like almost like a class, okay? Almost a class that is a Moogle. And yes, so I'm talking about like Black Mage, White Mage. There's Moogle. It's pretty funny. So anyway, there we go. We'll try the Water Moomba, shall we? Let me just quickly save and then we'll head up the road. Alright, okay, so here we go. Let's move on up.
Company, halt!
The fiend before us is Ochu, Lord of the Wood. We've had trouble with this one before. Remember, discretion is the better part of valor.
I remember as a young person, I never knew what that meant. Seriously, I didn't. Alright, so what do you want to say?
Standing guard, sir.
Sure, okay.
Standing...
Sure, I think Luzio has an item for us at the very least.
Ochu is no garden variety fiend.
Ew!
We could throw 100 Crusaders at it and still lose.
I really don't like that line that they can throw 100 Crusaders at it and lose. It makes the Crusaders seem pathetic, but hey, whatever.
Ochu poison is a surefire way to get to the far plane and fast.
Sure, thank you for the 4 antidotes.
The Ochu is no garden.
Alright, and then he just makes the pun about the garden variety fiend again. So, this is a monster. If we walk into it, we will actually engage in battle with it. If we find we can't kill it, we can flee. What we're going to do here is we are going to use the sphere grid to level up so that we can get to the point where we can kill the Ochu. So, here's how the leveling up works. This was this thing that Riku was trying to teach us about before. So you'll notice that on all of my characters here, they've got something called S level and then a number. So Titus has 8 S levels, Waka has 5, Lulu has 6, Yuna has 4, Kumari has 1. The S stands for sphere levels, okay? So by going into the sphere grid, this works a lot like tech trees in some other games. If you guys have ever played Path of Exile, you'll know exactly, you'll be very familiar with what this is. It's just a bit more clunky in the way it works. So, basically, this is a huge grid, okay, the sphere grid. All of this grid are all places we can travel to by spending points. Imagine as we play the game, we unlock points like trait points or whatever, and you can spend them to walk along all of these trees. And you have all different decisions in which direction you want to go and so forth, right? So Titus starts on this grid here. This little circle here, this is Titus next to him. This is where he begins. So by pressing X, we can say to move, and we can choose where do we want to go. Do we want to go up or down? Now, by going down, we go sort of into the very middle of the sphere grid, and that's where Kumari begins. So really, we don't have to worry about that. See, every single character in the game has their own, like, path. So Titus starts here, and if he goes up, he sort of gets sent on a certain path where he gets specific stats, he learns certain new abilities, and it will lead him in a certain direction till the very end of the game. Waka starts over here, and he's got a totally different path of his own. This means that Waka learns different abilities to Titus and has different capabilities. If I really wanted, though, I could spend a while grinding on Titus and send him into the middle, and then over to Waka's, and then I could send Titus over here. And so there are options for you. None of the characters are staunchly what they were originally intended to be. So yesterday when I was telling you guys that Titus is a time mage, he doesn't necessarily have to be. I could send him on Waka's path and he could become like the tactician and have all the status effects, and Waka could go and get all the time abilities, right? And even though Waka throws a ball, Waka would then become better at killing some enemies and Titus would become better at killing birds and stuff. That's the way that the sphere grid works, okay? So let's begin with Titus. We'll move him up just to over here. And now you can see that we have a couple of things in range. We have this node that we're currently sat on, raises our defense by a point. This thing over here says that it teaches us the ability cheer. This raises our agility. So we want to activate these nodes. You might expect in other games you just get the levels and then as you pass through the stuff it unlocks them. Well, in this game you need to spend spheres to unlock stuff. These spheres are the generic drops we've been getting from most enemies in the game, right? So mana spheres, ability spheres, speed spheres, all of these things, you activate these nodes. So defense, right, we're in range of. If we use a power sphere, we can turn it on, and there you go. Titus is now a bit more defensive. We can use a speed sphere to raise our agility, and we can use an ability sphere to learn a new ability, mainly this one here called cheer. Do you remember last episode while we were fighting underwater, I told you guys that if I'd been leveling up already, Titus would have more options? That would be because he would have learnt this skill here called cheer. And cheer, I can talk to you guys about when we actually get into a battle. So we'll move a bit further. And now look, we're in range of some more things. We've got the ability flee, which I can talk to you guys about soon. We've got more accuracy here. And then lastly, some actual strength too. And so we can move again. Now we get a decision. We move up. We get a decision. Do we want to come down here and unlock this ability, Extract Power? Or do we want to keep going up? See, now if we go for Extract Power, these nodes here are empty. They don't give us any stats. There's lots of empty nodes on the sphere grid. So we'll have to spend quite a few levels just to learn the ability with no other real benefit. So I'm not going to do that. Extract Power is a skill that means if you cast it on an enemy, when that enemy dies, it's guaranteed to drop power spheres, right? So if you find yourself running low on spheres, you can unlock stuff like that, but it's really not worth it for us. So I'm going to move further up. And now we've got 2 more things that we can, well, 3 more things we can activate. We just got some more strength. We got a new ability called Haste. And we got a some more evasion, +2 evasion. Alright, so we'll move, oh wait, we can't move now. So now Tidus has spent all of his sphere levels, and we need to go play the game, level up and stuff. And we get another interesting decision in a second. Do we want to move down here, or do we want to keep going up? And I'll talk you guys through that stuff. So what I am absolutely not going to be doing in the Let's Play is showing you guys every single move I make in the sphere grid. A lot of it's kind of tedious. A lot of it's just move, spam X a lot, unlock all this stuff, watch this stupid activate, you know, notification and go on again. I think the sphere grid would have worked really well in like a PC port where you can just click with the mouse where you want to move and unlock stuff. But as it stands on the PS2, it's kind of annoying. So Waka just learned a new ability called Silence Attack. What I will be doing on the sphere grid after this initial time is I will be showing you guys all the new abilities we've learned as we get them in the battles. So you don't have to worry about missing out on anything. Largely, it just gives you stats. All of them are just stat spheres, right? You've already seen pretty much all of them. This is one of the last ones. Look. So we found a new one here called a HP sphere. And by unlocking the HP sphere, Lulu gets an extra 200 health. So really, the only things that are on here are abilities. I will come back to it every now and then, but don't worry. Yuna gets an interesting decision here. Look. She already has these 2 skills unlocked. This is like where she started. But hidden all the way back here is a node for strength. Do we want to send Yuna to go back and get that strength sphere? Well, Yuna doesn't really use strength. She never really attacks that much, right? So it would be sort of pointless. Getting that strength sphere, though, for Yuna, whenever you get better stats on Yuna, it actually gives you stronger Aeons. It will buff your Aeons. So if we went for that strength sphere over there, it would actually make Valor Force stronger. That's a cool idea, but certainly not something we have to worry about. So I'm just going to take Yuna over here and get her these skills here. Which again, you don't have to worry about. These are null abilities, and we'll just talk about them in time. So here's the last person in our party. This is Kumari. Kumari starts in the middle. You can make him do whatever the hell you want. So what I'm going to do is I am going to make him learn everything in this big circular sphere in the center. That's how we're going to start, and we'll go from there. Alright, with that particularly long sphere grid tutorial out of the way, let's fight the Ochu and see how we do. We can demonstrate a lot of our new skills while we're at it. So, this is the Ochu. I'll open by saying one thing, right? If you want, you don't have to fight the Ochu right now. You can actually leave it till the very end of the game and get special stuff off of him. If you use an ability called Bribe at the end of the game on this guy, he can give you 80 remedies, right? So we've already found a couple of remedies, but it'll give you like 80 of them straight up. So it's kind of interesting if you want to do that, but I'm not going to worry. If we kill him early, though, he can actually give us some really cool stuff for the sphere grid. So that's what we're going to try and do, and I'm going to keep resetting the game until I get the good one. So, but that aside, let's look at some new stuff we've got, right? Tidus learned this new ability here called Cheer. This raises our party's strength and defense together. So not only are we going to be taking less damage, but we do a lot more each hit. There are a lot of abilities like this, buffs like this. This one can actually be very strong. I actually really like having Yuna learn Cheer so that she's got something to do whenever you're passively skipping her turn. But whatever. What did Waka learn? Well, he had Dark Attack the whole time. He's now got a new one called Silence Attack. This silences an enemy for 3 turns, and this is really strong against Lord Ochu. Lord Ochu has a bunch of different spells in his arsenal, but by inflicting silence on him, that big thing that's now appeared above him, he cannot cast those spells, and he is forced to do just a few mundane, smaller things like attacking us. Now, he's inflicted poison on Waka, but it doesn't matter so much. So we're actually going to cast Black Magic Fire on him. As you can see from our sensor weapons, it's telling us that he's weak to fire and that he's been silenced. So here we go. We'll cast that with Lulu. And now it's Tidus's go again. Well, what else did Tidus learn? Well, Tidus just learned another new ability, a white magic ability called Haste. Remember I said he was a time guy? This speeds up one character. Haste is overpowered as all hell. Haste will make so many fights so much easier. So, what we're going to do is cast Haste. We get to choose which of our allies we want to make quicker. Well, Lulu is the one that does the most damage here because she can cast fire, right? So I'm going to cast it on her, and you'll see that now because I'm targeting her, she gets a turn before the boss. If I wasn't going to cast this, the boss, it will go Whacker and then boss, but because I cast it on Lulu here, Lulu actually gets another go straight away. So that's really strong, and we're just going to leave Lulu out in the front line the whole time here. And you can see her animations have sped up there too. Now, Waka has been poisoned, so I'm actually going to swap him out for Kumari here. And I guess we could lance it. He doesn't have any abilities that we can learn, but we can lance it if we like, just so that Kumari gets his go. There's another Poison Claw that's come down. Lulu is still happy to cast Fire. You'll notice that Tidus hasn't had a go for a while. That's because when you cast Haste, it puts you on a big delay, but speeds someone else up. And later on in the game, you can do some cool stuff to manipulate it. So let's bring Yuna in here and cast Izuna on Tidus to cure his poison. Beautiful. And now Tidus could cast Cheer again, or he could just start attacking. So I'll actually have him attack once. And then we will have Lulu cast Fire. So now the boss is maybe half health, something like that, I would predict. You'll notice that the silence buff just wore out. He's no longer under the effect of silence. And so we're going to want Waka to recast silence attacks soon. So we'll bring Waka back in. Now he is poisoned, so he's going to take a bit of damage from this, but it's totally fine. We're dancing all around the Ochi right now. We know exactly what's up. So Yuna again, I guess. And then Izuna. And with Lulu, we'll cast Fire again. Just keep chipping his health down. 400 damage right there. And there we go. So now Lord Ochi falls asleep. This happens when he gets low on health. What this does is puts the sleep status effect on him, which you can clearly see from those Z's. In this game, while someone's asleep, it means he cannot do anything. So you see every time it says boss comes up, he actually won't do anything. It will just sit there completely passively. The caveat to that is, though, if you attack someone physically while they're asleep, it will snap them awake. But there's a caveat to that. If you cast spells on someone who's asleep, they won't wake up. So he's asleep. I just cast Fire on him. He took damage and he's still asleep. But here's another thing. Because he's asleep, he currently has regen on him. So ideally we don't want him asleep because that's going to slow down the fight a lot. And another thing is with this particular enemy, if we wake him up forcibly, he'll get very angry and he will cast a skill called Earthquake on us. So to protect from that, we're going to summon Valifor. So now I explained this in a previous video that Valifor as a flyer has immunity to certain attacks. One of those attacks would happen to be Earthquake. So here we go. We'll wake her up with a physical attack. We could keep casting Fire, by the way, from Valifor. We could just keep doing it, and he wouldn't wake up. But I want to get rid of the regen. So there we go. Now he's awake because we attacked, and he's going to counter with Earthquake. Now this is a nasty attack. Massive damage on your part if you're not prepared for it. Completely misses Valifor, of course. And we're fine. So now what do we want to do with Valifor? Well, actually, I want to overkill this enemy. So I'm going to try and charge Valifor's Overdrive. I'm going to do this by attacking Ochu a couple of times. But I don't want Lord Ochu to get too low, frankly, because otherwise we may not be able to charge very quickly. So there we go, we just evaded that attack. Now here's something else cool you can do. Remember how by pressing right on regular players you can swap weapons, armor, and escape from battles? On an Aeon, you get different abilities. On an Aeon, you can dismiss it and go back to your regular party, but they also have these two things here. One's called Shield, which means you take very low damage the next turn, but you cannot charge your Overdrive. The other one's called Boost, which means we take massive damage, but our Overdrive fills very, very quickly. So let's see what we do if we try and boost against Lord Ochi, who is now no longer silenced, might I add, so we'll start casting spells. Boom, there you go, straight away. You see, we took tons of damage, but our Overdrive is instantly full. Instantly full. Now against Sin we did 1,500 damage, so I'm hoping we can do at least that on Ochu, and that should be enough to overkill the boss. And I'm overkilling the boss because I want the double items from it. So here we go. You'll notice that the Overdrive animation there was a bit shorter, so was the summon. That was that option we set at the start of the game. So there you go, 1,500 damage. We got the overkill. And we should get massive AP, massive gil, and double items from this boss. So there you go, look at all these sphere levels we already got. Everyone's leveled up at least once. So here, we got 2 MP spheres. We got 2 of them because of the overkill. Now, Lord Ochi will drop 1 of 2 items, okay? He'll either drop HP spheres or MP spheres. MP spheres, I'll show you guys how that works.
Whoa. A summoner and her guardians. Very impressive.
Sir, we should fight too.
We'll get our chance soon enough.
Young crusaders gather around. We'll beat sin into the ground.
Ah, see, Gat is such a lovely kid. Alright, so Lord Ochu can drop either 1 of 2 items. He can either drop MP spheres, which is what we got, or he can drop HP spheres. What these spheres do is instead of activating nodes, they will turn empty nodes into whatever it is that it says. So here, look, Yuna's currently got an empty node right next to her. By using an MP sphere, we can turn that empty node into an MP node, which we can then activate with a mana sphere and increase Yuna's MP by 40. And we got 2 because we overkilled the boss. Now, here's the thing. MP spheres are kind of crappy. HP spheres ones are amazing. So, I'm actually going to reset the game. That's called a soft reset by pressing L1, L2, R1, R2, start and select together. And I'm going to go kill Lord Ochu again so that I get a HP sphere. I will see you guys in a second.